You know what absolutely fascinates me about human psychology? Most people have a completely distorted view of their own financial reality. They either think they're doing way worse than they actually are, or they've convinced themselves they're killing it financially while secretly living one emergency away from disaster. It's like looking in a funhouse mirror where everything appears either impossibly skinny or uncomfortably wide, and you have no idea what you actually look like. My name's Alex, and I spend way too much time obsessing over financial data, wealth calculations, and why the majority of people have never actually sat down to figure out if they're ahead or behind in the money game. If you've ever wondered whether you're actually building wealth or just treading water financially, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it ends up revealing some surprises about your true financial position. Here's something that might shock you about net worth calculations. According to recent Federal Reserve data, the median net worth for American households is around $120,000. But here's where it gets interesting. That number includes everything from 25-year-olds just starting their careers to 65-year-olds who've been accumulating assets for decades. When you break it down by age groups, the picture becomes dramatically different and way more useful for actually understanding where you stand. The problem is that most people think about wealth in completely the wrong way. They focus obsessively on their income, which is like judging a movie based solely on its opening weekend box office numbers. Your salary might make you feel successful when you're talking to your college friends at reunions, but it tells you absolutely nothing about whether you're actually building long-term financial security. Let me give you a perfect example of why income is basically meaningless when it comes to measuring wealth. I know someone who makes $150,000 per year, drives a BMW, lives in an expensive downtown apartment, and eats at restaurants that charge $30 for a sandwich. Sounds pretty wealthy, right? Wrong. This person has negative $50,000 in net worth because of student loans, credit card debt, and a lifestyle that burns through every paycheck like gasoline on a bonfire. Meanwhile, I know a teacher who makes $45,000 annually, drives a 10-year-old Honda Civic, and lives in a modest house she bought 5 years ago. Her net worth? Over $200,000. She's been consistently saving and investing while Mr. BMW has been consistently spending and borrowing. Guess which one is actually wealthy? This is why net worth is the only number that actually matters when you're trying to figure out your financial reality. Net worth is brutally honest. It doesn't care about your job title, your fancy gadgets, or how impressive your lifestyle looks on social media. It's simply what you own minus what you owe, and it tells the real story about whether you're moving forward or falling behind financially. But here's where things get really interesting. Most people avoid calculating their net worth because they're terrified of what they might discover. It's like avoiding the scale when you know you've been eating pizza for breakfast. The fear of bad news keeps them from getting the exact information they need to actually improve their situation. The irony is that understanding your true net worth position is usually way less scary than people imagine. In fact, many people discover they're in much better shape than they thought. Maybe you've been focusing on that credit card balance and completely forgetting about the equity you've been building in your house. Or perhaps you've been so worried about your student loans that you haven't noticed how much your retirement account has grown over the past few years. There's also a psychological phenomenon that happens when you finally calculate your real net worth. It's like turning on the lights in a room you've been stumbling around in the dark. Suddenly you can see exactly where you are, which obstacles you need to navigate around, and which direction you should be heading. The uncertainty disappears, and uncertainty is what creates most financial anxiety. What's fascinating about net worth calculations is that they reveal patterns that income alone completely misses. You might discover that you've been making steady progress for years without realizing it. Or you might uncover some expensive habits that have been quietly sabotaging your wealth building efforts. Either way, you finally have the real data you need to make intelligent decisions about your financial future. Decisions about your financial future. The beautiful thing about doing this calculation is that it forces you to confront some uncomfortable truths about how you've been handling money. Maybe you'll realize that the $800 monthly payment on that truck you bought 3 years ago has been absolutely destroying your ability to build wealth. Or perhaps you'll discover that your habit of buying lunch every day has cost you $4,000 this year that could have been working for you instead of against you. But here's what really blows my mind about net worth calculations. They reveal the invisible wealth that most people completely ignore. You know that boring 401k account that gets money deducted from your paycheck every month? The one you never think about because it feels like monopoly money that doesn't really belong to you? Well, surprise, it's real money, and it might be worth way more than you realize. I've seen people who thought they were broke discover they actually had $75,000 in retirement accounts they'd been ignoring for years. These accounts grow quietly in the background while you're focused on more dramatic financial events like credit card bills and car payments. It's like having a secret savings account that your past self set up and forgot to tell your current self about. There's also this weird thing that happens with home ownership where people forget they're not just paying rent to live somewhere. Every mortgage payment builds equity, which is actual wealth disguised as a monthly expense. You might feel house poor because your mortgage payment is eating up a chunk of your income, but you could simultaneously be building tens of thousands of dollars in net worth through property appreciation and principal payments. This is especially true if you bought your house more than 5 years ago. The real estate market has been absolutely bonkers, and many homeowners have seen their property values increase by amounts that would make their annual salary look pathetic. You might be sitting on $100,000 or more in home equity without even realizing it because you still think of your house as that thing you bought for a specific price years ago. The flip side of this calculation can be equally eye-opening, but in a more sobering way. You might discover that your lifestyle has been completely unsustainable, and you've been living in a financial fantasy land. Maybe those investment accounts you thought were doing great actually haven't kept pace with your spending increases. Or perhaps that second mortgage you took out to renovate your kitchen has put you in a much more precarious position than you realized. So, here's the bottom line. Your net worth doesn't lie, even when everything else about your financial situation feels confusing or overwhelming. Whether you discover you're way ahead of where you thought or realize you need to make some serious changes, at least now you know exactly where you stand. And knowing where you stand is the first step toward getting where you want to go. Stop guessing about your financial future and start calculating it instead.